Adopted in 2005, the ECOWAS agriculture policy is coming to an end after 2 decades. Over the past 10 years, ECOWAP has produced concrete results in various strategic areas, demonstrating its essential role as a driver of agriculture transformation in West Africa. This is the ECOWAS Impact Report.
In West Africa, agriculture is an essential sector in the daily lives, economic and social exchanges of the population. Within the ECOWAS region, the Economic Community of West African States, 60% of the population live in rural areas and depend on agriculture. In the 1970s, the region's agricultural sector faced challenges related to the impact of climate change, such as reoccurring droughts, as well as land and water sharing issues. In response, ECOWAS countries developed common agricultural policies to address the sector's challenges in an effective and coordinated manner.
Nous avons les années 70 à 90.
In the 1970s to 1990s, saw the region face various droughts, and the main focus was the creation of the Permanent Interstate Committee for Drought Control in the Sahel, CILS, based in Ouagadougou. Its objective was to combat drought and food crisis linked to drought in our region and the Sahel. Following the CILS, the region's first agricultural development plan was adopted. In the 1990s, ECOWAS focused on restructuring African farmers' organizations, strong OPAs, professional agricultural organizations, and supporting the agricultural sector and small farmers. The main objective was to improve productivity. Between 2000 and 2015, food crises were unfortunately recurrent, so we had to imagine something completely different. This is how, at the African level in the 2000s, we had what was called the PDDA, which is the Detailed African Agricultural Development Program. And this PDDA resulted at the regional level in what was called ECOWAP, the ECOWAS Agricultural Policy.
Est découlé au niveau de la région, ce qu'on a appelé l'ECOWAP.
Adopted in 2005, the ECOWAS Agricultural Policy, known as ECOWAP, provides a guiding framework for agricultural development in the region. ECOWAP is the regional implementation of CAADP, the Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program of the AU, African Union. Its objective is to harmonize and adapt agricultural policies in Africa to the West African context.
In
2005, we adopted the ECOWAS Agriculture Policy ECOWAP, and we developed an initial action plan, which ultimately led us to define the first generation of National Agriculture Investment Program in 2008 to 2009. We also developed what we called compacts or national pacts, where we held round tables for financing. All 15 ECOWAS member states were covered. For us, this is a key element of success, because it was from there that strategic, structural, and systemic planning began to take place in the countries, with the commitment of ECOWAS, the commitment of the countries, but also the commitment of the African Union.
des pays, mais également l'engagement de l'Union africaine.
To implement this policy, ECOWAS created the RAAF, the Regional Agency for Agriculture and Food, responsible for the implementation and evaluation of ECOWAP, the Regional Agricultural Policy. According to the agency, in 10 years, more than 500,000 producers have benefited from agricultural programs, and nutrition-focused initiatives have helped more than 7,000 households.
Since its launch, the Regional Agency for Agriculture (ARA) has led and continues to lead a number of regional projects, more than 30 in total, estimated at approximately $2 billion. This intervention covers several areas, but we have grouped them into 5 main areas.
The 5 main areas of intervention of the RAAF, the Regional Agency for Agriculture and Food, are agricultural productivity, livestock resource development, resilience in food and nutrition security, the value chain and market competitiveness, and finally, project financing and management.
From an institutional perspective, we created the Regional Fund for Agriculture and Food, which is housed at the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, EBID, and is endowed for better or for worse. We use ECOWAS resources to enable EBID to raise additional funds and finance agriculture. The second instrument we established is the Regional Agency for Agriculture and Food, as an entity that allows us to facilitate the execution of the project and program we defined.
As the Common Agricultural Policy expires after 20 years of existence, each revision represents a key moment to redefine West Africa's agricultural vision, taking into account the challenges faced by the agricultural sector and its ability to adapt to them. In Africa, according to the FAO, we have approximately 37% post-harvest losses, with all the negative consequences for food security, but also for producers' incomes. And unfortunately, our region is not far behind. So we were told that 35% of food production in the region is affected. Unfortunately, due to a lack of infrastructure and storage capacity, producers lose around 40% of their harvest. And this has been estimated, brace yourself, at $48 billion for all of Africa. West Africa relies heavily on grain imports, particularly rice, to meet its domestic demand. Once a marginal crop, rice has become a strategic commodity over the years due to its impact on food security and its significant contribution to producers' incomes.
Rice is a very, very important, it's a staple crop in West Africa. It is strategic for us, and it is also prioritized by the authorities of the ECOWAS Commission. It plays a very vital role in food security, issues of nutrition, and even livelihoods of the various rice actors along the entire value chain. But as much as it contributes to our dietary requirements, like 47% of the dietary requirement of West African population, we are not producing enough to meet the consumption needs that we have. So there is a gap. There's a wide gap between the demand for rice locally and what we are able to produce locally as well. So we have been able to compensate for this through massive importation of rice, mostly from the Asian countries. This is a huge challenge for the region.
West Africa, while heavily dependent on grain imports, particularly rice, must also take into account the growing importance of pastoral practices in its agricultural and food economy. Recognizing the fundamental role that pastoralists play in the sustainability of the region's food system and in animal health is essential for the community development.
Le pastoralisme, c'est un système de production.
You know that pastoralism is a production system that involves animals moving seasonally from one point to another, in search of pastures and economic opportunities. Pastoralism is currently the dominant livestock system in West Africa.
En Afrique de l'Ouest, environ 80% de notre cheptel.
Approximately 80% of our livestock in this way, the rest is raised in a sedentary manner. However, the system, even if it is adapted to our situation, faces many feeding problems related to climate change, urbanization, the evolution of agriculture frontiers, and also conflicts today and even mining.
Et aussi des conflits aujourd'hui, voire même l'exploitation minière.
La question de la santé animale a réellement démarré depuis 2000.
The issue of animal health really began in 2006 at the ECOWAS level with the avian flu crisis. Avian flu is what we call a zoonosis, that is, a disease capable of being transmitted from animals to human beings and vice versa. And this crisis has indeed affected poultry worldwide.
La volaille au niveau mondial et en Afrique de l'Ouest.
In West Africa, the various ECOWAS member states have joined forces with global institutions and have jointly decided to establish what are called regional animal health centers at the level of African regional economic communities. The mission of these regional animal health centers should be ensure what is called harmonization, but also the coordination of animal health policies and strategies, including disease control, both specific animal disease and zoonoses. Specifically, those are called transboundary disease.
The revision of ECOWAP for ECOWAS is taking place at a key moment for agriculture in West Africa. Its objective is to capitalize on the challenges and progress made over the past 10 years, particularly in terms of climate resilience, external economic crisis, and cross-border crisis. A new strategy for 2035 will be implemented. This agricultural policy will, in continuity, be aligned with the new CAADP, Comprehensive Africa Agriculture Development Program of the African Union, launched in Kampala, Uganda in January 2025.
Nous entamons
So starting this year, we are beginning the revision of ECOWAP with the aim of first taking into account the resilience of food systems in the face of climate change, disruption, unstable rainfall, etc. Second, taking into account the demographic impact, which has two essential functions: youth. It is said that 70% of our population is under 35 years old. So, how do you use this active force of youth to attract them to agriculture? Third element, take nutrition into account. Ensure that we no longer eat haphazardly, but that when we eat, we also take care of ourselves and eat well. So we are moving a little from conventional agriculture with all the chemical production, use the chemical and use of pesticide without reason, towards an approach where we talk about soil health and integrated soil fertility.
Agriculture and rural development are major challenges in West Africa, both in terms of the economy and employment, as well as income and food security. The economic and orientation of the community's agricultural policy are structured around two key areas: increasing agricultural productivity and regional economic integration, with the establishment of a true free trade area within the economic community of the West African states.